It's weird. I have OBS like over there and like that
Hmm.
there. I should really swap them around because that's delayed. This isn't. Chat can
Throws
be
you
there.
off, really, doesn't it?
It's weird. Well, I have 3 monitors, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that the mic is here, so the mic pretty much covers anything on that monitor over there.
Yeah.
So like essentially like what I put over there is like stuff that I want to have up but I
Hmm.
don't need for the show. So like right now Spotify's over there because that's where we
Yeah.
pipe the music from. So I don't really need to see Spotify right now. Will's right there. And now Will always has to be on that monitor because the way your screen is sized fits into there. So you're always there. Then that leaves like what do I do with like Twitch? Because I can put Twitch over here and that's great. And I can put you there, and that's fine. And I can put OBS here because I should be staring at OBS because I get chat and then my camera and then that there. It's just, organization first thing in the morning. I'm not good at it.
Yeah. Especially the busy morning you're having. So let us help you get on with your morning, ready for you to have a nice, relaxing week of non-gaming stuff. Because good morning, everybody. This is the Game Won't Play Itself podcast, brought to you by Lard Teamaker, aka Will McKellar, and joining me, as always, in relaxing mode, hopefully, is James Atkinson.
Morning, everybody. Hopefully y'all had fun. Hey, Premier League started today. That's
Yep,
good.
NFL started on Thursday.
Yeah, NFL started on Thursday, and yeah, they all stood in solidarity for everything that's going on, and they got booed. Great job, Kansas City. Great job. Just good.
So,
Bravo.
how they doing the fans bit then?
I think they're doing like only 400,000 or 40,000 or 4,000 in it, and they're like all like if you're in a bubble together, you can get tickets, and then like you sit in the seats, and then like they space you out. I was sitting there like watching, I'm like, oh, they're the fucking fans in the stands. Now I here, let me tell you something. I'm totally against having fans in NFL games right now.
Right.
And even though I have tickets to go see the Patriots, I will not be going, regardless of even if they open it up to full capacity. Because, and this is the big thing about NFL games, tailgating is a thing. Right?
Yep.
So they may not be able to control, they may be able to control social distancing in the stadium.
But outside,
But outside, how are you going to police that? How are you going to police they're like, oh, well, you can social distance out there. I'm like, yeah, no, people are just going to get fucking hammered tailgating. When people get drunk, inhibition's lower, and shit just goes wrong. And I'm a firm believer of like, listen, I know I'll do everything right, but I don't know about the drunken asshole from Quincy, Mass.
And that's the thing that the government over here is saying about this weekend, because the rule of 6 comes into force Monday. Now people are going, well, if it's that important, it's that bad, why is it waiting till Monday to come into force? It's a good point. That's a very good point.
Because I think they were waffling about letting people go to the Premier League games this weekend. A lot of the teams had protested to be like, hey, can we have like 4,000 people in the stands just to like test it out? And the government went no. And I think that's because they were like they were debating it, and then when the rule they pretty much decided the rule of 6 comes into play on Monday, they basically told the Premier League we can't do that, because you'd be like, hey, you can have 4,000 to 8,000 people in your stadium, but then on Monday that changes. No. So
it's a very weird time again as it's starting to pick up pace.
Yeah, I personally am. I mean, I'm going on vacation now. Where I'm going I'm going to a different state on vacation. I've had to fill out a form online that gets sent to the hotel that I'm going to be staying at. It says where I am, what my symptoms have been, and then they have to verify it when I get there that I'm there in person, and then they send that to the state's local government showing yes, this person is here, and yes, they did show up. Now, our two states aren't on each other's quarantine lists, but if something happens during my stay there and one of the states comes on the quarantine list, I have to come back. When I come back home, I have to quarantine for 14 days. I may have to. So that's something that we had to, but we're basically filling out paperwork saying like, where have you been? What's your medical history? Do you have any symptoms right now? What are your symptoms? Have you been sick? They want to go through COVID. And now
Mhm.
it's starting to get into fall weather here right now, right? Lighter,
Cold flus are going to start appearing
well,
again because
cooler temperatures in the evening,
Mhm.
warmer during the day. But it's also it's roughly hay fever season too, right? There's still a lot of pollen in the air.
Yeah,
I have hay fever. I'm
yeah.
allergic to pollen. I get a runny nose and I sneeze and cough.
Sneezing has nothing to do with COVID though, so that's one thing you can go. It's
If
like
you're
it's not COVID if you sneeze. If you cough,
if you're projecting out of your mouth, people look at you
yeah,
like you're
true,
fucking crazy,
true.
which is fine. Luckily, I wear a mask everywhere because I'm not stupid.
I
I
took a walk around the block yesterday, literally just around the block. I forgot to put a mask on then, but I was very careful of trying to avoid people. But the thing is, when you don't wear a mask, you're very sort of conscious of seeing more people around than when I did. It's like, oh, oh shit! I better try and keep as much distance as possible.
You know the saying, Will, just because you're
Mhm.
paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Exactly. Mm.
But yeah, so and I get to go to an area where apparently, like, it is literally a tourist place.
Mhm.
So they have, like, fleet weekend and cruise ships come into this place and stuff. So I'm sitting there going, like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be nice to get away. It's gonna be nice to do some of the stuff. So some of these things we can look at as they have like giant mansions that are used to be summer homes for America's rich and famous. Yes, we have those. Yes, that we had people who had summer homes. Uh, the Vanderbilts come to mind. There's one of them. So we get to like look at them, and in those places you can socially distance. Like if you're
Yeah.
going on an audio guided tour, like you can socially distance in there. But like it's like walking down the main streets. Now this is an old New England city, which means like most of the streets were originally made for carts. So there's a lot of it's one way traffic and little to no sidewalk.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to maintain social distancing while limited to no sidewalk walking, and yeah, it's gonna be fun and interesting. Um, I plan on spending all day tomorrow in the hotel room.
Watching sports.
9 o'clock, F1 race.
Mhm.
11:20, Tottenham versus Everton. 1:30, Patriots.
Yeah.
And yes, I did subscribe to Peacock, so I have all the Premier League games. Because Tottenham and v Everton is a Premier League game. It's on Peacock.
Fair enough. So we might as well get on with what we're going to be talking about today
It's almost like we
because
sandbagged into the video game talk to wait for people to go. Electro, are you
so
a Liverpool fan? I'm guessing you're a Liverpool fan if you're saying slaughter Everton.
great start to the new season to slaughter a team. So we've got a bit of a content dump. It's quite a hefty one today, I think, compared to normal. What we've been playing. There's
North
not
versus
really
South.
much else of
Perfect.
it. Not really much else of shout outs and bimp ups though this week. So we might as well get on with it. With it being it's the last podcast before I turn 41.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well and truly into your 40s at this point. You could kind of fudge it a little bit now.
Yeah. So I'm 21 again. No, I'm not. No, I'm 41 too. So it's been quite a busy week for gaming news. It started with a leak on Wednesday morning just for me. Actually, no, it was Tuesday, wasn't it? The leak happened.
Yeah, I
Because I
think
remember,
so.
coming back from having my blood test and seeing this leak there, and I'm thinking, this looks the most legitimate one I've seen so far of all the rumors. And then Microsoft and Xbox with on Twitter did the monkey meme of, and when you saw that, you knew it's like,
Yep.
oh, this is real. Oh, this is so real. And then they made it official. they actually came out and went, "Yep, this is a thing." But what is the thing? So we've got two versions of the Series X, of the Xbox Series. We've got the S, which is the all digital one, which looks like a mini speaker, but it still looks quite nice. And then we've got the X, the Series X, the box with the Blu-ray drive in it. November 10th. So
I was pretty
maybe,
close. I was close.
yeah.
I was right on with that one. You can check that one off into the James Predictor calendar.
You were right about price of
Yeah.
the Series X, because we didn't know about the Series S.
Nope.
For $499 in the States, so $449 over here in the UK, which is not a bad price, to be fair.
No. I think the digital version is a better deal. I mean, regardless of what features it doesn't have, it is priced aggressively. It's priced aggressively enough that you can kind of get it, and like most people will be able to afford it.
Yeah, it's because when I got the PS3 and I was like complaining about it being 425 quid. I mean, this was around, this is 2007 when it was coming out. This is around the time that I was being made redundant. So even though, it's actually around about 22.5% now. It's a lot higher than 20% VAT. With the US, from what I understand, and James will clarify this if I'm wrong, different states do different taxes.
Yes. So Connecticut has like a 6%, 6.35% sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're smart, and I did this for my PlayStation 3, we were going up to a friend's family vacation spot up in Vermont.
Yeah.
And there's a Best Buy in Vermont on the way by there. And Vermont doesn't do sales tax. So I bought a PlayStation 3 for $499. Just as is. Like no sales tax, no nothing. So I got it for retail. So if you're smart, you can kind of do that kind of stuff. But doing something like driving up to Vermont to do that would probably cost me as much in gas as the tax would. So
so it sort of does balance out in a way.
So certain states do taxes on things more than others. Another great example for taxing is cigarettes. Most states like tax cigarettes at like a 10% tax on cigarettes, as a kind of a way to not only
people do it.
Try to stop people to do it, but also to be like, if you're going to get a vice, we're going to use that money to fund other programs. Because essentially that's what taxes do, right? They fund other programs.
Yeah, that's what they're meant to do.
Yeah. Well, Colorado instituted a sales tax on marijuana, not as aggressive as cigarettes, but on Captain Marijuana they have a tax, and through that tax they've been able to fund their teachers' pension program and roadworks projects.
Seems like a very good idea, because I know it was one of the things we always used to look at for each budget, especially when Dad was alive, because he always used to say, okay, beer and alcohol is going to go up, cigarettes are going to go up. They're the ones that are going to be hit the hardest, because they're the ones that make quite a lot for our coffers. Makes sense, really.
Yeah. Beer and cigarettes, okay, fine. Tea, do you put a tax on tea and shit gets thrown into harbors?
Exactly. We don't want that shit. We want our tea in our cups so we can drink it and be happy.
Would you like some water? No. What if I sprinkled some dry leaves in it? I'm in.
Put some sugar and milk in that shit too. There you go. Now you're talking.
Decadent. Decadent.
$249 for the Series S. That's a good price. That's a really good price for.
That's a nice sweet spot. And did you hear about the financing you can do?
Yes, you can do. Is it 12 months or 24 months?
It's 24. It's 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 30. I think it's 34 US. Then the other one is like then the other one I think is like it's like 29 or 25 US, and then the regular Xbox that they're
Yeah.
keeping around is like 20, and then
Mhm.
like so it's a cell phone plan for your console. So it's a cell phone plan for your
Yeah.
console. But you also get Xbox Live and EA access as part of that for those
Yeah.
2 years,
The Game Pass Ultimate with it,
which is
which in the end of the year will include EA Play, which is that's a masterstroke, I think, from Microsoft on this one. Purely do, because including that as part of Game Pass Ultimate, if you like EA, there's another list of games you can just add if you want.
I mean the whole
And
financing thing is kind of a masterstroke. Because what's
yeah,
Game Pass? What does Ultimate cost you right now? What is Ultimate? Xbox Game Pass
Game
Ultimate.
Pass Ultimate is Game Pass Console, Game Pass PC, Xbox Live
But
Gold.
what does it retail for? What do you pay per month for it?
I don't know. Honestly I think it's what $7.99 a month, or has it gone up to about 12 quid something a month?
His Ultimate price.
Because no, I'm not paying for it until June now.
But once you have Xbox One, perhaps you can invest in a Game Pass Ultimate subscription for $14.99 a month.
All right, so $14.99 a month, so it's around about $12.99 here, something like that. It's around that sort of price. So it's 120 quid a year. No, not even 120 quid a year. It'll be you'll be looking 145 pound a year.
Hang on, I'm doing some quick and dirty math here. Blah 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 blah. Here it is. Okay. Yep. So it is. So in the U.S. it's $34.99 a month for the bestest Xbox. It is $24.99 a month for the speaker Xbox, and then for OG Xbox it's 22. So if we do the quick and dirty math, so we'll round up. All right, let's just round up numbers. So we do 25 times 24 months. So that's So it's $600, so that's $600 essentially over 2 years is what you're paying.
Yeah.
But if we take 15 times 24 equals 240, so you do 600 minus the 240 equals 360. So essentially, you're still gonna it's worth buying it outright. So and I'll tell you why. Because I just did the math. So $25 a month.
Mm-hmm.
$25 a month means over 2 years you pay $600.
Yeah, what's the APR on that? That's what I want to know.
No APR. No
There's
interest.
no APR.
No interest.
All right, okay.
That's what it says.
Fine. Mm-hmm.
So there's a caveat next to it. I have to pull up the caveat to read it.
Yeah.
But essentially it's saying no APR.
And you have to keep your console in immaculate condition.
Does it provide financing? No.
That's one thing that comes up with it. It says you must keep your console in immaculate condition.
Yeah.
Or very, very good condition. I'm like, oh, what? So my choice is I'll be getting it straight out.
Yeah. It's once again it's $299 in the United States. Mm-hmm. So we'll say it's $300. So you're paying $60 more to finance it. That's just that's the digital Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So on paper, it sounds nice, right? Oh, 24 because you think about 20, and I think more people are going to buy the system because it's $24 a month. That's more reasonable than forking up $300 in one go.
Yeah.
But you don't own it. You don't own it until after it's 2 years. It's like your cell phone. You don't own it.
Yep.
And they say that there's no fees or anything to apply or get it, but any late payments may be sent to the credit bureau, so you can fuck your credit.
Yep.
So so it's a $60 upcharge to do it. Now I think it's great. I mean, the fact that they're tying in, and I didn't even factor into what does EA's thing cost per month. EA,
I think that's about $9.99.
cost It's currently runs $4.99 a month or $30 for the year.
That's not bad. That's
So
not bad.
that's it. No, that's not bad. But at the same time, if you're looking at the year price, you're still only getting it at a $30. You're still paying a $30 premium.
Yep. And if you can't make that payment, that's all of that gone.
So, is it good?
Yeah.
Yes. Are some people going to be able to get a console and have a console because of this? Absolutely. Does that mean more people are going to get into gaming? Absolutely. And in the environment where economics is a little bit more strapped, you think about that. That's like you just cut. Okay, so I cut away like HBO Max. I take away Hulu, and I take away like another streaming subscription, and I've pretty much made up that price right there in my Xbox. Yep. You know, you're able to make that fluctuation. I think is it good? Yes, because
for new people, yes.
People are people who want to get into console gaming or want to upgrade a console who are having financial difficulties can do it now. And the fact that it's all packaged together and they're going to have live and everything factored into one payment, that's great. And they're not going to have to buy new games. That's great. Essentially, if they get this and then they get this and then they get Cyberpunk as part of Game Pass, they've immediately made their money back. Because Cyberpunk is a $60 game. Done. Nailed it. That's good. That's it. You're good. So a lot of people are... So that's going to be helpful to people. But I think the better deal is to own it outright. Because if you own it outright, you own it. And that's that.
Yep.
And also, this is another funky one. And Will, you'd know this working retail. How does a store sell you a protection plan on it?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
You don't own it. It's not your device.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember those. Get it on credit. Try and get them onto credit. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah,
or for X amount a month or for X amount up front, you can have the warranty on it. So if anything happens to it, we'll either replace it with an equal or lesser item or give you the cash value of it at the time.
Yep. Because then here's the downside to having Xbox Game Pass and this. And good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Retail will hate that because, right, you're selling this console to people, okay? The console itself, the companies, the retailers don't make that much on it. At best, they will make 20%, all right?
Yeah.
The games they sell and the controllers, everything else that comes with those, they're the ones they make 40% profit on. Now you have Ultimate there. That's the games, a lot of the games and hundreds of games taken out of them. So that's one downside to that. The retailers will go, oh no, I don't like this. So unless they're getting a little bit of an extra profit margin from that, that's a downside for retailers, right there.
Yeah, and for what I'm looking at, I think most retailers are not going to be selling the financed version. They're only selling them at console price.
Game in the UK is going to be selling and Smith's Toys, I believe, are selling the ones on finance. Because that's what it is. Let's make no bones about it. That's finance.
Yeah, it is. They even say it in the terms.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're getting it on. You're financing. It's the same as your cell phone. You're financing your phone. You're financing your Xbox.
Mm-hmm. Put it this way: I'm not going to judge people who need to go on it. Family have been on it for years. We've had to have it. Hell, I've got a credit card. You know. However, I've done the thing where, because of the pandemic, I have been able to save money that I would have spent on EGX Res. EGX, which starts in about a couple of hours. So I've managed to build up enough that I can get at least one of them and what I want to, and a TV to go with it. My mum has very kindly went, I'll get the other one for Christmas for you. I look at mum like this going, are you sure? And mum was like, yeah, of course I'm sure. Now, fair enough. I'm not going to look at gift horse in the mouth that way, You're going
to let her be. You're going to be nice and have her buy the digital version of it for you.
Okay. I'm going to make sure out of the items she gets, she is going to be putting the money down for the cheapest one.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good.
I am not that sort of person. If people think I'm that sort of person, fine. You can think that way, but you're talking out your ass, all right?
I mean, you could also do, and this is something that I have done, where it's like,
Hmm.
listen, I want to buy the better version of it. You'd say you'd chip in for, have her only chip in the money for the cheapest version of it, and then you float the difference to get the better version.
Hmm.
I It's how I kind of bought my place. We're going back to me buying my PlayStation 3, but I was buying it because I wanted the new PlayStation. And then my
Yeah.
dad said, "Are you going to bring this home when you come back from college?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm going to. I'm going to bring it home, put it in the den, use it." And he goes, "Okay, here's $150 towards it." I went, "Why are you giving me $150?" He goes, "That's how much a Blu-ray player costs. Your PlayStation is going to be the Blu-ray player for our den. So
Hmm.
I'm paying you for a Blu-ray player. You're buying yourself the console." And I went, "Fair enough. It makes sense."
Now, here's the difference. Also between the digital version and the big one, the big version. The backwards compatibility. You do not have the enhancements that they said you were going to get on the Series X, on the Series S.
I'm sorry, I just find that funny. It's just like the
Yeah.
backwards compatibility enhancements. Ah, yes, those games that were made back in 2007 getting enhanced up. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Enhanced.
It's like, what are they gonna do to enhance them?
Enhancements on.
It's like Hacker Man. Get my power glove on. Let's do this.
Enhanced.
Enhance.
Enhanced.
Enhance. So that's the cravat. That's the cravat caveat. Sorry, cravats when you wear. For fuck's sake. But um, so yeah, that was a big move. Big move by Xbox to do it that way.
It's. Hey, I'm happy. I am happy for the pricing,
Hmm.
right?
You
And
called it.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say what was I. It was 2 out of 3 because I called the pricing, I called the release date, but I didn't call the digital pricing because I said the digital would be like $50 cheaper than the big boy,
Mm.
and it's not. It's
It's
much cheaper.
$200
Yeah.
cheaper, and the SSD is smaller in the S than the X.
So I wasn't accounting for that. I was expecting it to be like equal or I was expecting it to be like you're paying $50 for a disk drive. That's what was
Yeah.
my now. I'm not taking away for that, but heck, 2 out of 3 is pretty good.
Mm.
I got to admit, I got to say, I'm happy with 2 out of 3. Um, and here's the other thing with the Xbox One S or X. Was it? It's Xbox One
Series.
X, right? That's what it is.
Series X, Series S.
I'm just gonna call it the Xbox One X and the Xbox One XD, which is for digital,
Okay.
or the new hotness and the new digital hotness. They're talking about not having that upscaling for like
Mhm.
the digital version. Give that like
Yeah.
2 years. They'll have it.
Mm.
They'll come out with their version of Project Scorpio or Scorpion for these series of consoles. They'll be like, now with digital upgrade quicker than
Oh.
the original XXXX Xbox on Sunday.
Oh, you know that'll happen.
Oh yeah, it's
Because there's money to be made, because we know the bullshit that's out there, which could conveniently lead on to our next story. And yeah, you remember 505 was saying about the Control game, that if you wanted to have the upgrades for that, you would need to keep the complete edition, and they weren't able to upgrade that complete edition for us people that decided to give them money from day one.
yeah.
Well, a couple of people on PS4 earlier in the week managed to get that upgrade for free. That they said it wasn't possible. A company talking bollocks? When does that happen?
Or if you could be somebody smart like me who just waited and got the complete edition on PC
Yeah.
for $31.
Yeah.
Yeah, oopsie boopsie. Somebody made an oopsie. And
Big oopsie. Yeah, and Wild Rose has brought up a point, just quickly going back to the new consoles, hard drive space.
yeah, 200. You think about that. Oh, I've got a terabyte. Well, good. If you want to play,
games, that's it.
if you want to play Warzone with your friends, there's a fifth of your hard drive right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 1/5 of your hard drive. I guess I imagine that we all know what the next step is for this, right? What's the next logical jump for consoles? It's Stadia, it's cloud, because then you're like, oh, you don't have to download it, you can just stream it. That's the next logical step. Everybody knows Stadia still exists, right? That's a thing, right? Anybody remember that?
I mean, what about the Ouya?
On live.
Yeah, but here's the other great thing about a lot of these companies are sitting there going like, ah, yes, the all digital one. Congratulations. You will get to pay full price for all of these video games with us giving you shit. Disc people, pay $70, get a disc in a box. Digital people, pay $70, get a digital game.
I hope they have enough USB sockets as well for the hard drives you have to bring your current gen games over.
Hey, they're getting close to PCs at this point. I wouldn't be surprised you can just install them on externals and be like, oh, hang on, guys, let me get yeah, that's gonna be the new plight of the new gamer, right? It's not gonna be like, let me find my Warzone disc. It's let me find my Warzone hard drive.
Yeah, let me find the hard drive for it. Hold on. Because apparently there was a way you can actually download or transfer the game that you want to use onto the SSD, play it till you don't want to play it anymore, and then move it back over so you can free up your hard drive space that way.
Yeah, but that's terrible.
Yeah,
that just sounds like play. That just that just sounds like having a disc with more steps.
No, it's even worse than that.
It's not necessarily isn't it?
A disc you could put into your machine and take out 100,000 times, but you will destroy your SSD by having it constantly writing and unwriting, writing and unwriting, writing and unwriting, writing and unwriting. That's the downside of SSDs. That's why they don't defrag. It's because they have a limited number of times that they can be written to.
Until pop.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So that is engineered obsolescence.
Why do you think all my video games are on a standard hard drive? Because I uninstall and reinstall video games weekly. But I can also defrag my hard drive.
Mm-hmm. Which Windows 10 does automatically for you every so often.
Mm-hmm. Unless you disable the feature like me because they do it at the most awkward times. Hey, if I'm up at 4 a.m. editing videos, I don't need my hard drive defragging.
I mean, that's why you can hear it going every so often, because it's probably defragging. That's what it's doing.
Same reason why, like, if you have software that you're going to be using every single day all the time, you put that on the SSD. But if you have things like games that you're going to be cycling through, you put them on a hard disk. And they have fast hard disks, and you can partition your hard disks to be as fast as SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes a physics problem, where you need to make sure that the internal ring, which is the smaller end of the storage, is the only thing being written to when you're doing that thing. So, like, you could save your settings and whatnot. You can save all your extra configurations. You can save that on the outer ring of the hard drive. And you can actually tell your computer to specify which section of that to do. You do it through the partition manager, and you create 2 storage blocks on your machine. I don't remember how big it is now, but it's like 30% of your hard drive is as fast as an SSD because it's physically closer to the center of rotation. And then everything else is slower because it has to move the reader all the way out to the ends and bring it back to the center to do what it needs to. The things you learn over time.
Oh, Electro is coming in with, I'm sorry, that's not strictly true what you're saying. In what way, Electro? Let us hear the
small file.
I mean, it's a general, like, broad stroke statement. I mean, big files are going to take a longer time anyways. It doesn't really matter. But like, in the interior ring of the hard disk itself, it's going to be faster than the exterior ring.
And let's talk about this for a second. The real thing is, do you think Microsoft is going to put in a high quality SSD hard drive, or do you think they're going to find the lowest one that meets their minimal specifications for the console?
I'd like to think they put somewhere in the middle rather than low quality, sort of one that would fall apart and is all sort of, very brittle in their new console. Because I know they will have an upgrade bay for it. I know we know Sony does for their ones that are not yet available. But yeah, I'm hoping they're actually big enough for this, because we know that the PS5 ones, we need to have big enough hard drives, SSD drives for them, because we know the games are going to be big. We know the games you can't really use on a normal hard drive. They say, they must be used on an SSD to get them working. So yeah. Dr. Electro saying, I think you need to change the question to, when do you think the next console will come out? Because it's got to last close to that. So what, about 5 to 7 years?
So
before they move over?
Well, this is what we're going to see. If all things being equal, right? We have this console release, in about 2 to 3 years, we'll have an updated version of these consoles released. So essentially, the one that they wanted to build originally, and that they basically beta tested out of all of this. Because essentially, with any new product like this, they're R&Ding it. They're gonna take all, because, hey, remember those terms and service agreements? They're able to gather all the information based on the Xbox and all their data that's going through it, so they can better engineer things. So they'll have all that information, and then from there, they'll go, okay, how can we optimize this? They will optimize it, and they will give you an optimized version of it, probably at a higher price, at the price of the original launch ones. They'll drop, and the other one's all down $50 or $100, depending on whatever. And then they go from there. And then at that point, probably another 2.5 to 3 years beyond that, you're going to get the new console releases. That's where you're going to get them.
If they decide to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. We're getting to that point where people are predicting we don't need consoles anymore.
Yeah, you'll have your little box that just does everything for you. Looking at the back of the Xbox Series X, there is a storage expansion slot in the back for you to plug in and out proprietary sized hard drives.
Yeah.
Seagate is apparently the people who are doing the hard drives. So essentially, it's a hard drive that fits into like a little dock that fits into the back. So you don't need USB ports. You need their hard drive to do it.
Same with Sony. Sony are making theirs.
But on the back, 2 USB ports, an Ethernet cable, a power, and an HDMI out.
Right. So,
well, I wonder if that's going to be the actual like hard drive. It needs to be their spec, or if it's going to be something like a hard drive bay.
Nope. It is. Microsoft unveils its full Xbox Series X specs with 1 terabyte expansion cards. You'll be able to continue using a 3.1 plus external hard drives on the Xbox Series X. You can run Xbox games on it, but they have specific expansion cards that are like SSD drives that allow for quicker data. For anybody who wants to see it, there's the article.
One terabyte's not going to be enough.
Yeah, no.
That's just crazy.
It's not.
Oh, the problem I'm seeing is I'm not seeing the actual connectors. But if it's anything like that weird diagram that's showing in the
scroll down,
little thing,
they show a picture of the back of the actual device, and the expansion slot is like 2 USBs connected together in size.
I'm not seeing where that is.
It's further down in the article. So you got the weird one, you go down past the video, and it's like right before the end. Here. There's the image. Posted in chat.
Thank you. That's just a SATA.
But it's not, because if you look at the thing, that's not the size of a SATA drive.
I mean, no, it's not the size of a SATA, but those are just SATA connections.
Yeah, but they have a proprietary size. That's what I'm saying. So like Xbox is doing a proprietary size for that. So like it's its own, that's its expansion slot. Now they said that you can still use external hard drives, but like the one that works the best is the one that Microsoft makes. Didn't they do this with the 360 too? With like the hard drive on the top? They had like the weird.
Yeah. The original 360 had the chonker on the top.
So there we go. Yeah, so upgrading. Control. Should have just bought it on PC. Just gonna say, should have bought it on Steam on PC. It was the best deal. Yeah.
So yeah,
It's so funny that Xbox's main competitors are PlayStation, Nintendo, and then itself.
And then it's,
and then it leads us to Sony, because Sony are going to be doing a PS5 showcase this Wednesday night, 9 p.m. UK time. Now, in their blurb that they put on their blog, they said this is the one more chance to see updates on games in 40 minutes before the console releases in the holiday season. So that tells me right there they are going to be letting us know when and how much.
You know what's going to happen? They're going to price it right. I hope they prices right it.
Yeah.
It's like Xbox Series X or Xbox X1 X XX no scope killer 6969 XX is with $399. PlayStation 5 $398. Or
even funny if they decided to go down and put it like 50 quid less.
Oh,
$9.99 and 2 cents.
Yeah, or no. Xbox is $399.99. PlayStation is like $399.98. Like, so just a penny cheaper.
I think realistically they're going to be the same for the big one,
be the same
and the digital one's probably going to be what $349.99.
Well, that's the thing with the digital one. It depends if PlayStation does. Because the PlayStation, we don't know the specs of the digital one. If PlayStation does what I originally predicted, which was new console, digital console, $50 cheaper because you're not paying for the CD drive, but it's basically the same console.
Yeah,
there you go. Because that's the thing, Microsoft went for we're going to give you a digital console at a cheaper price, but it's not the same.
Mhm.
Do we know what the size of the PlayStation hard drive is?
Just trying to remember what it was now.
It's not like we have an infinite research system right here
There
at our fingertips.
was a comparison bit the other day of what you got in the box for that. I believe I'm sure it was just below 1 terabyte.
It is. Yeah, it's 825.
Yeah. And again with an expansion port.
And
And again,
Electro, you are right. Expandable storage is NVMe SSD. So you are right. That is what the at least on the PlayStation 5 it is. So if it's on the 5, you'd assume that it's on the Xbox.
Yeah, I presume I agree. I think it is an NVMe card that's just like tucked into an adapter.
I mean, I'll just sit here and go. But what I will say is the companies have prices in mind, yes, because I know companies don't like doing this, but as has been in the past, companies will not make a profit on consoles within the first year to a year and a half of them being out. They take a loss.
Which means where do they make their money back? Peripherals and
Peripherals, games.
And when you look at the release lineups, if you're looking at newer game content, PlayStation looks like they're leading that. I've seen more from PlayStation for like new games than I've seen from Xbox. But Xbox is like really pushing Game Pass because remember, Game Pass is free for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just straight profit.
Yep.
So that's how they're planning on making their money. This is the first time in a long time that I look at and I think I've said this before. As interesting as this console generation is, there's nothing there that screams out to me, I need to buy this console. I need to own this. And at the same, because now with Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, Sony coming out saying that they're looking to bring more titles to PC, Sega saying that they're aggressively looking at bringing new titles to PC with how well Persona 4 Golden released, for me at that point is just like, okay, do I want to? Because for me, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is coming out.
Yep.
I can wait the time that it would take to get it on PC, because for me, like that was the whole thing when I played through the game on PlayStation. I'm like, this is beautiful, but I'd love to see this thing on a PC because I'm not going to be capped at 60 frames a second. I'm going to have all of this other stuff. I'm going to have the horsepower to make this game look like the way it's supposed to be made. And I know that the consoles are much better and that they're saying all of these wonderful things and the specs are the best that they've ever been. But you're not telling me that I couldn't buy a computer with the newest gen processor, get the beast that is the 3080? Ooh, that's a sexy card. That is a sexy card.
I'm springing and ready to pounce on that. So for those who don't know, I just recently, and I mean like this week, I just put my PC together. My old one blew the power supply. James supplied one for temporary times. And then I got all the parts and everything assembled for this new one. And oh my god.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of upgrades I didn't do in the past that I was just like, why not? But I'm sitting here with an absolute demon of a tower.
Can it play Crysis?
It can play Crysis.
That's important. That is very important.
Can it play
Crysis?
Right now I'm using a 2080 Super. I don't expect to get a 3080 anytime soon, just because of the whole market surrounding fucking crypto miners and their bullshit.
Yep.
How quickly they pounce on graphics cards. So,
yeah, I think I'm running a 2070 boosted. Yeah, I have a GeForce RTX 2070, which is I would think still a very solid graphics card.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've still got a 1060 under the hood of this one.
They're already farming with 380s and they haven't even released yet. Of course they have. NVIDIA is a company based in Taiwan. Think about that for a second.
See, I'm still pretty happy with mine.
If it does what you need it to do, you don't need more.
Exactly. I mean, one of the big reasons I'm looking at getting both the consoles is for podcasting, and because I'm a console gamer.
Yeah.
Is what I like the choice. I like the ease because putting a PC together runs into the hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds. Which, again, for someone like myself with the budget I have, I don't have that. That's once in a year, sort of a year of getting 1 or 2 bits. So for me, the prices that they are is important. And if there's someone said to me, you can play all these great games at the price of a 3080, what am I going to choose?
Right. And once again, it's all about upfront cost. I think that's the title of this podcast. It's just upfront cost. Are you willing to make that price? Are you willing to pay that price? Because as Chris will attest, his computer right now cost him a fair bit to assemble.
Yep.
But he's probably going to have that PC for now 10 years.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Maybe at some point upgrading the graphics card in it, spending like an extra $400 over that period of time, which is
that's the thing. A PC is an investment, isn't it? A long-term investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I use it for more than just gaming.
As do I, especially lately. God, especially lately.
Like if I were to price it off of just the gaming aspect alone, I would say it actually comes out to pretty close to the same pricing. It's the cost of the graphics card, which is pretty close to the rest of that, because I could downgrade the graphics card to something a little less intensive for everything else that I need.
And there's also a phrase that my dad always used to say to us, and it became more prominent when I started becoming, working age and started to work and get my own wage. He went, if you want it and you can afford it, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Great sage advice, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of my best friend's dad always used to say, if you're going to steal it, you better as well not be able to afford it. Which I think is also sage advice.
Yeah. I think I'd need to offer some sage advice to Eve Gillimore, though. And it's time for what seems to be a recurring theme of me shouting at people.
Angry man shouts from podcast at game companies.
Yeah.
That was the alternative working title for the podcast, but didn't really work out too well.
Hey, Eve, mate, come here, right? I don't believe for a second that you didn't know what was going on in your company for over the past few years that came to light in the summer. Okay? I don't believe that for a second. You have your fingers in as many pies as possible in that company that you're running. All right? So you saying that you didn't really know what was going on is either really naive of you or you think we're fucking stupid. We are not. Now, the excuse that you put out that you wasn't going to put on the apology video on the live broadcast of Ubisoft Forward because of time constraints for a 4-minute video that you yourself know the length of time that you wanted those games to do is also an excuse that is bullshit. We're living in an age where people are more enlightened now, and this sort of stuff, as horrific as it was, does not give you an excuse to pull little PR stunts like they're saying, oh, we're going to be doing this instead. No. You should be resigning. If you want real change to happen with Ubisoft and to help the people that these assholes hurt, you, Eve, is where the buck stops. Your CEO, you take the fall. and you say, okay, we need change.
This is just another stream of video game CEOs just not taking. Epic has had the problem. Gearbox. Let's talk about Gearbox's CEO. He not only ignored it, but was the source of the problem. Ubisoft. So we've been seeing this for a while. EA, God, look at all the EA payment scandals that are going on.
Yep.
You've got people walking out.
Activision.
Yeah, Activision. People walking out wanting to unionize for better pay and shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you've got but then you hear other things like CD Projekt Red, where everybody seems to be really happy working for that company.
Even though they apparently have crunch as well, but it's like, but they're not happy with the sounds of it.
But I have a feeling that like the CD Projekt Red crunch is very much kind of like, listen, we need to crunch. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, don't feel that you're not jeopardizing your job by not being able to do this. Please, only do it if you can, and we will pay you X.
Yeah. This year's really brought to light some nasty people in the game industry.
It's not like we all have a lot of free time to talk about this shit.
Yeah. And to come up with the excuse of, we'll put it in the VOD, but we didn't have time to put it into the main part when they're the ones who control how
These
long
aren't
they're
live shows.
Yeah.
Do we give them a little bit of like, say, okay, they did address it? Because they could have not even addressed it. Like, they did actually address it. So you get a little bit of okay there, but it doesn't. It's like you're sweeping it under the rug, buddy. Like, if this was us and something like this came out, it would have been like an immediate action. This is what happened. Obviously, protect the people involved, because you don't. This is the internet, people.
Yep.
So if those names get out, sides will be taken and shit will happen.
Yep.
So protect the people involved, but like show meaningful change somehow, some way. And I think that's I guess I'll take a little bit of a devil advocate approach here. Is that did he know about this? Probably. Did all this stuff happen? How does he go about now showing meaningful change? Like, how can he prove that? Like, how can he show, like, besides from having this video, what else can he do to show, the community that they're making a change? You can't tell the names of the people involved in incidents, because that's, as much as you want these people who are horrible human beings to be able to yell at, they're human and they're being dealt with in a protective way. You want to protect the victims in this situation. So you need to do that, because if you release the name of the people who did it, then you can infer who the victims are from that information. So what do? You can't, if you fire a bunch of people, people are going to know who, once again, odds are, those are probably the people involved. Either some of them are the people or some of the people who didn't deal with that. So is he in a difficult situation? Abso-freaking-lutely. It sucks. But, like, this is where you have something like, okay, Ubisoft hasn't had the best PR team too. Let's be honest. They don't have a good PR group. Like, you need to, what do you show? Okay, this is what happened in our company. I would say, like, I would sit down and say, listen, this is what happened. This is what we're going to do going forward. We are going to give our employees these resources going forward. If something like this happens, just reflect on your policy, rearrange your policy, and then let the internet know what that is going to be. And let people know who's going to be held accountable if that policy fails. Because that's the big thing. If I fucked up, if the TGWPIS fucked up and we came out and I said, listen, this is what happened. This is how we're changing it. This is how you as the community can hold us accountable for that. Because if we don't live up to those expectations that you expect from us, this is the accountability thing. That's it. It's just, how can we as a community hold them accountable? And that's ultimately what we want. Because for the most part, we just think, these companies are just fucking these people, and all we do is yell at them and not buy their video games. If you give the community some kind of buy-in to kind of hold you accountable, the fact that they've got buy-in to you, that changes the narrative a little bit. It goes from just, we're sorry, we're just so sorry, to like, okay, help us make change. And you're still going to get the majority of some people who are going to say, fuck you, you're assholes. and that'll happen. But I think you'll win over the majority of people. But you're like, okay, they're still big assholes, and this still fucking sucks. But they've at least addressed issues going forward, and they're looking to make meaningful change, and they're sharing that with us and making us a part of that.
Yeah.
Hi, Ubisoft. My name is James Atkinson. You can find me anytime you want. I'm happy to work PR for you.
Because they did say they were going to do something to try and get more people from the diversify their staff, and they said over was it like 2-3 years about $1 million.
It's great. 2-3 years to where? To what?
Yeah.
If you're gonna say we're gonna spend $2 million to address the issue, okay. But if you said we're gonna spend $2 million focusing on HR development and training, diversity and sexual harassment training, and then also for changing over the guidelines to help with that, then it would be like, okay, you're putting that money to where your money where your mouth is. They may just say, we're going to have $2 million over the next 2 years. And we say is we're just have $2 million. We're sitting in a coffer. So when we get fucking lawsued, we can pay it out. Am I wrong with that? That could be where you put the $2 million.
Nope. Definitely where they could put it.
And they might need to be, because they probably are going to get fucking sued.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't blame the people doing it. I really wouldn't.
Everybody, please buy Assassin's Creed. We need to pay. We need to pay some lawsuits. We need to pay some lawsuits.
But yeah, I mean, to take an example, look what happened with the BBC. For years and years and years and years and decades, there were people there that were abusers.
Should we use Jeremy Clarkson as one? Because
he just likes to say stuff that winds people up. I'm talking about people like DJs like David.
Punched a producer.
Yeah, I know. He did that. That was an assault, and he was rightfully fired for that.
Yeah, okay. I'm just kind of using a recent example, and also I do love Jeremy Clarkson. No. Anyways.
Things like David Travis, the highest profile one was Jimmy Savile, who was hiding behind doing stuff for children's charities and working in prisons and stuff for that. And he was being protected by higher ups in the BBC. And when all that came out, heads rolled, including higher ups, including the big one, the directors, the controllers of the BBC had to leave. There was a joke by Frankie Boyle when the BBC moved, broadcasting houses. And he said that the joke is, it's like the building site of the BBC television centre is actually now safer for children to play in than when it was going. It's a very dark joke, but, it makes the point. So that's what I'm saying. These companies, the CEOs, if this stuff is happening on their watch, they need to be removed. So changes can be made, and so we will not tolerate this, no matter how high up you are, because even if you weren't directly responsible, it happened in your watch. I think I need a breather.
So they're going to say, don't buy Ubisoft games. You're acting like I was going to buy a Ubisoft game to begin with.
I mean, things like Valhalla, Legion, they were ones that I was interested in getting, but I have to look at my morally again and go, do I really still want them, considering the staff behind it? And this, again, it's the people who you have to take a sort of a weird decision, because not all the people who worked on it are horrible people. Some of them, are really decent people working on a game they've put their heart and soul in.
Yeah, it's the double-edged sword. If you don't buy the game, it's the classic example of
if you buy the game, you're an asshole for supporting the terrible people. If you don't buy the game, you're an asshole for not supporting the good people who suffered.
Yeah, and it's probably a small majority ruining it for the majority. It's a small minority ruining it for the majority. Because, like you said, probably I'm gonna hazard a guess here and say 95% of the people who worked on Valhalla probably weren't involved in any of this. Probably didn't even know. And
Yeah.
here's the other thing that the other thing that some of those people are kind of hoping this game succeed, who were the victims of this. Their livelihood is tied to this game being good because not only were they sexually harassed, but also need to make sure their job is guaranteed because they need to have developed a good game. So you're like, yeah, fuck these guys, these corporate execs, but at the same time, it's like, you gotta kind of those people need to get paid too. There's a reason why when you see the credits roll, all those people have their things tied, their fates tied to this game. So, is it difficult? Yes. That's why it's difficult to speak with your money. Now, it's very easy to buy the game and then just be super pissed about it and then give it bad reviews and review bomb it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that's the moral quandary we see with video games, It is what it is. So if you're going to buy it, buy it. If you're not going to buy it, don't buy it. That's completely understandable. It's understandable both ways. And it's completely okay. I'm probably not going to buy Valhalla because I don't feel like buying the same Assassin's Creed game 3 times in a row. I'm not buying Legion because all right, you can be a granny who can right, proper fuck the cops, but with her cane, right? Proper over the head. I'm just that's. What is the point? What is the point of Legion besides from fuck the man? Is it just V for Vendetta but with zany characters? That's what I think it is, right?
It feels like it.
Just why? Well, I know why, and I don't like.
'Cause money.
Because money and preying on political climates.
Yeah. It just...
Games and politics should mix, right? How often we've heard that for the past couple of years.
It depends. Some games have done it really well. And I'm going to use a very weird example. I thought, and it's not really a politic-y kind of a game, but I thought Far Cry 4 did a very kind of interesting interpretation of what if you met the crazy dictator guy? I thought that was an interesting take. And everybody knows the interesting thing about Far Cry 4, right? You see the dictator walk away in the opening scene. If you stay at the dinner table and after you hear the horrible, he comes back, you spread your mother's ashes and then you leave. And that's it. It's game over. You beat the game.
No, it's a case of he comes back, you spread your ashes, you go, yeah, let's go spread your mother's ashes, and then let's go blow some shit up. It's wait, what?
Same with Far Cry 5. You meet the crazy preacher, and you can just let him go and walk away. And the game ends. And it's weird to say that about a Ubisoft game. Then there's Primal, which is
Yeah, they just took that back in time.
And then there's the ultimate politically involved game, which is Football Manager 2020, which has hard-coded 8 different Brexits. I have a hard Brexit, and then Scotland and Ireland secede from the United Kingdom. And don't count as homegrown players anymore. So, yeah, that's a thing. Let's talk about Brexit in video games. How many other video games have talked about or had Brexit in them?
Yeah. Not a lot. I suspect a lot more will be happening very soon. That set in modern day, Yeah.
Will Legion have it? Don't know.
Something alluding to, along those lines, I'd imagine. Shall we talk about something nicer?
Sure.
Because in just under now, 90 minutes time, PAX Online and EGX are teaming up, and their big sort of online game festival begins. It's quite nice, live streams, giveaways, walk-arounds and virtual booths, demos and stuff you can play. Sounds good to me. We know a couple of people who are going to be involved. Actually, no, I know 3 people involved with EGX this year that aren't part of like the Eurogamer team. We've got, for example, Sammy, who will be doing a panel tomorrow, around about 2:00 on there. We know that J-Dub will be doing a run of Sonic 3 and Knuckles Air as the Tails speed run next weekend. And there's someone who's working as like a mental health advocate helper there that we know of. But I'm not sure they want us to say who it is. But we do know them. I'll let you know after the show, because I believe they talked to us about it before. So that looks like it's going to be a nice thing, and doesn't cost us anything. That's good for that's good for a convention, isn't it? Really?
Is it sponsored by Discord? Something tells me it's sponsored by Discord.
Discord is part of it.
I would think.
The Virgin Media as well is one of the big hosts, and
they're providing the internet.
Probably. Wouldn't put it past them to be doing that.
Richard Branson going to be there? I'm going to skydive into the empty arena. Why? Because Richard Branson. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they have their own the website, which I'll post into the chat. I haven't seen the meet and greets. They did say they were going to do meet and greets there, and I'm like, how are we going to do that? But that doesn't look like it's still happening, as you can see on the website. But yeah, so that's happening in about an hour and a half time, or in the future when you're listening to this, probably going on or done. So, content dump taken care of. Let's get on to what we've been playing. And Chris, you, sir, Mr. Coffee Knight himself, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, I've been playing Put My Computer Back Together Simulator.
Ooh.
Always a fun one.
Yep.
Yes. I was playing the real life patch of PC Simulator.
Did you complete it?
I did. It is current. I'm actually using it right now. It's currently there. I'm playing Valorant more and more. I'm enjoying. I liked League for the competitive nature. I like Valorant for the competitive nature. And I enjoy. I love a good shooter. I am a shooter man. I was raised off of shooters. I will die probably playing a shooter. If I'm dying, I want someone to bring a laptop to me, and I want to play classic Doom until the last breath.
Nice.
But overall, that's pretty much all I've been really playing. It's been a busy week, and not having a PC for a fair portion of that definitely adjusts that. I've also been working on my laptop. Bless you.
Bless you.
I've been working on my laptop as well. So I have I have Linux installed on that, and I'm trying different distros and whatnot and playing around with those and getting a feel for a different operating system.
Blimey. I think someone's allergies is going.
Sounds about right. 'Tis the season.
Mm-hmm. So, if that's all you have been playing, dude, I shall quickly move on to mine, because I'm going to have to look at my second monitor / TV that I've had. Because for some reason, and it was really, really doing it yesterday, kept flicking on and off the channel that I was on. It wasn't powering down. It was just like, it was almost like it was not receiving the signal. So I don't know whether it's the HDMI's ports are going or the cable. So I couldn't check the cable and see. But yeah, apart from that, there's the stuff I streamed, which you can have a look at on the YouTube channel of the Game Won't Play Itself, coming up later on tonight. Or you can watch the video on demand from my channel. I have been playing a little bit of a game called Deleveled, which was a code given to us by Quantum Astrophysicist Guild. Thank you very much for the code again. Which is it's a puzzle platform. You basically have 2 blocks. Either side. It's almost not quite a mirror for each level, and you have to try and hit switches to complete the level, and it's quite fiendishly tricky. And it was out on Thursday, I believe it was. Played a tiny bit of FIFA. No, it's FIA truck racing. FIFA truck racing would be quite.
FIFA truck racing. Yeah.
That'd be quite a game.
There goes Ronaldo inside on the McLaren, followed by Messi.
Had a look at that. It's flinging a truck round in wet weather, and also having to remember to put water on your brakes because they overheat.
Excuse me.
Is quite a thing to remember. But truck racing is fun. I need to get into the career mode for that. Played a little bit of the game Spinch that we saw from that JW was playing last week. Again, not too much. Maybe a level. Same sort of a little bit more Bejeweled. Superbox Land D-Maker played and completed it and platinumed it. I say complete. I completed it to the point where I've platinum. I haven't done all the levels because the publisher that brings these games out that are quite easy to platinum, they put the platinum trophies not at the end of the game, so you don't have to go all the way through them, which makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me at all. And then there's the other stuff I played on stream, which you can see. So check those out. What have you been playing, James?
Really 3 games. Let's talk about F1 racing.
Yes.
France. I won
Very,
big time.
very nice.
Yeah.
You win big time.
Superior strategy, superior car. Hamilton stuck in it through the entire thing, but we made him look like a chump. I Hamilton. I got out of he passed me in the pit lane. I got out of the pit lane, and within the first straight, I was just passing him without any issue. So, difficulty change may be coming.
Because currently with our rivalry, we are 7-all after that as well.
So yeah, but yeah, it's we're starting to kind of find that the learning curve is slowly starting to level down. I've started to figure out how the car handles, how things are. We're getting a better car every week, and things are kind of the game is starting to make sense. Full qualifying now, all of that. But yeah, now we have driver negotiations, and we've made some pretty big upgrades to the car. So Austria, not tomorrow.
No.
Next week. You get a week off from it. Will's Austria this week, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Our Austria next week. So essentially what I'm going to do is probably make it so we're just going to be a week behind you now. So now everybody's going to know what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be okay, we know what Will did, but what is James going to do now? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, so that whole mystique is going to be gone now, but a new mystique is going to be in there because, let's just put more pressure on me, right? That's what we want to do.
Yep.
Put more pressure on James. We played Borderlands 2 last night. It's Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Do we need to say anything more about it? It's Borderlands 2. It is a classic fun game. Everybody should own it at this point because it's on everything, literally everything.
Almost as many devices as Skyrim.
Almost as many devices as Skyrim. Not as old as Skyrim though, but close.
No.
2012. 2 other games I've played. Wasteland 3. I'm still playing that game. It's still a lot of fun. Just interesting moments happening into it. I had to go in. It's very much a game of it's not the good or the bad choice, but just kind of the choice. They propose you a choice. So it's okay, the priest of the church who lives in the good area of Colorado Springs, which is the headquarters, says, we have a lot of refugees coming in. We can't sustain this amount of people in our town. We need to find who's smuggling in the refugees and stop them. So you go to a different town, find out who's smuggling the refugees. They're given to smugglers who have stolen all of their stuff and like locked them in cells, and they're just gonna like let them die and just take the money and take their gear. So you kill all of them, and then the refugees come to us and say, "Listen, we're starving, we're freezing, we don't have any of our stuff because these guys took it from us. Can you help us?" So you can either choose to have them die there, or you get them in. So you have to then find a caravan driver to bring them in. At which point the caravan driver, you figure out who is the person who's been smuggling these refugees in. At which point you go and you talk to them back in Colorado Springs, and you go, "Hey, you're smuggling refugees in here," and they go, "Yeah, we are. These people have nothing." And I'm like, first of all, you fucked up because the person you sent stole their shit from them. They're like, "Oh, well, damn it." They're like, "Okay, so what do you do?" So they're like, "Okay, so what do you want to do?" So at that point, you either stop the refugees coming in, which is going to make the refugees and the other people not like you, but it's going to make the rich folks in town like you. Or you tell them just this one more time, and then never again, which gets these people in, and then they stop doing it. Or you say, yes, keep having refugees come, which is going to put a strain on the city's resources, which is already getting strained because of all the war and strife that's happening. And then the rich people hate you, but the other people love you. So like it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you... It's very much a bunch of like, there's no moral, like these are all moral choices, but it's not good in any way. So it's like, yeah, like this city is already overpopulated, and they're saying we need to close to refugees because we can barely sustain the people we have in this city. Refugees want to come in because it's horrible out there. It's Colorado, it's like nuclear winter, and they can't survive, so they need to come to the city so where they can try and survive. You know, you got to make a decision. I chose personally to have the refugees come in because I have a feeling, and this is just my thoughts, they're like talking about, oh, this is, you know, you're working for this guy called the Patriarch, and his 3 kids are crazy and stuff. And it's like the more I'm kind of like seeing this kind of thing go down, and I'm watching everything, and I'm thinking, you know what would be better here? Not if the Patriarch was ruling, not if his kids were ruling, but what if we ruled? Like, not ruled, but like, what if we can bring calm to this place and just like make it work? So I'm just like getting the common man and all of like the other factions to like us, so that like when it comes time for it, it's just, let's just bring these bitches down and we're in control. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of people. Also, the greatest NPC in this game is Scotchmo. He's like a drunken Western guy. He walks and goes, "Oh, hey, I was with you in Arizona. What are you doing here?" And you're like, this is Colorado. "No, it's not Colorado. You're Team Alpha. Where's the other people?" They're like, we're Team November. You're in Colorado Springs. "I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, you got scotch? Scotchmo loves scotch." And you're like, okay. And then he goes and he throws up in the corner. And then at that point, you have Scotchmo, who is a sneaky sniper, who's also a drunken, like, gold miner.
Excuse me.
I also have a cat that has a hat on it. His name is Sergeant Mittens. He is a sergeant in the Ranger Corps. I also have a dance bot. It is a disco dance bot, which provides us AP and then shoots fireballs out of its disco ball.
I'm glad you said singular, not plural.
And it's only one thing. It's a disco ball on treads. That's what it is. Interesting thing about Wasteland 3, I was watching an interview that they were doing with the creator of it. And they've had some hiccups. There's actually a co-op version of this, like where you can play the game with like another person, because there's 6 party members, so they control 3, you control 3. And there's been problems with this. And this guy was very candid about like the issues they were having, and like the bug that they're getting, which is like, you know, it gets up to, the loading bar gets up to 33% and then doesn't continue. He's like, yeah, we put like $1,000 bounty out on it. And he's like, you're going to laugh when I tell you who we're going to have to pay the $1,000 bounty to. He's like, so Phil Spencer calls him from Microsoft and says, "Hey, I've got this bug. I was playing Wasteland 3 with my friends and I got the 33% bug. Can you guys fix this?" So he's like, they're like, oh, yeah, you probably need to respond to that email.
Yeah.
So is it a little bit buggy? Yes. Is it a good CRPG? Yeah, it's pretty much like if Fallout was continuing the way 1 and 2 went, it's kind of going down that line. Granted, it gets a little bit more on the wacky side sometimes, but it's a good game. It's good CRPG. And then finally, the last one is Crusader Kings 3. Or as I'd like to call it, England Simulator 2020.
Yep.
Or sorry, no, England Simulator 08 or 800.
How's your nudist colony doing?
We're doing. I don't have a nudist colony. I am the king of Ireland right now. I have United Ireland, and I'm waiting for for some reason Norway is in charge of all of England, except for like 2 places in Wales, which are fighting over themselves, and then the Scots are kind of involved in Scotland, but not. So I'm kind of just sitting there waiting. What I did do is I got all of Ireland. I conquered it all. And then I also have the island of Man. Because
wow. You want it for motorbike racing?
Absolutely, I want it for motorbike racing. So I'm ready to like pounce into England because obviously with anything like these are Vikings, right? Yeah. It's gonna explode. That's the one thing you can guarantee about like this. If somebody dies, because the way Vikings is like all of the sons get a piece of land. So like the eldest son gets the highest title and then it goes down from there. And like they have all of England. So that shit's going to blow up and then a ton of wars are going to happen. And then I'm just going to jump in from the side and be like, surprise, bitch, Ireland. And just start taking over shit. The only problem is I'm allied to Wales or else I would have taken over Wales. I think Cornwall exists too. That was a country at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so that's Crusader Kings 2. I haven't died yet. My character's like in his 50s, so anytime now because it's, you know, the 800s. He's going to pass away. And yeah, then we're going to see about that. I've also turned off end date. So one of the great things about Crusader Kings 3 is that you can turn off the end date of the game. So like normally it would like end in like the 1400s. But you can turn that off. So my thought is that I almost want to do this. I'm not going to. But my thought would be to just turn off the end date, put a game of Crusader Kings on, and just go into observe mode. Because you can do that. You can like not play the game. You can just observe it and just let it play while I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
And just come back and just see what it looks like after a week. But I've also dabbled a little bit of more Football Manager. I'll give you guys a quick update. We won the Caballero Cup. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're like 2 wins away from winning the league. And we're doing an invincible season. I have 25 wins and 8 draws.
Wow.
We haven't lost a game. If we complete the invincible season, I'm ending the save.
Yeah.
Because we've won everything. And we did it undefeated. We drew games, but come on, you're drawing games. It's fine. That's it. That's all I've been playing.
Okay. The only thing left to do then is pimp outs and shout outs. X-Life, less than 2 months away now. 6th, 7th, and 8th of November for us. We're all going to be doing 8 hours over the 3 days. I'm going to be doing trophy collecting by our PSN profiles to try and get the easiest down to the hardest.
Will, I have a bounty for you to add.
Ooh.
At $3,000.
Right.
Okay. $3,000. I will play for 2 hours at least Dark Souls 3.
Ooh.
I fucking hate Dark Souls. They're not my games. I hate them. But for $3,000, I will play Dark Souls 3 for at least 2 hours.
Fair enough. I shall get sorting that out. Also, there's a second bounty that I need to add because for PS Plus in September, you can get PUBG and Street Fighter 5.
This tells
On
me it involves Street Fighter 5 and not PUBG.
yeah, it does involve Street Fighter 5. Last week, Tom Marrett decided to say about playing Street Fighter 5 on tomorrow, on Sunday, in here. He basically called me out on it. Now, you guys will know I'm not a huge fan of fighting games. You know, I'm not very great on fighting games. Yeah, I have been challenged by Tom, and I said, yeah, I'll do it on one condition. We hit 5k for Extra Life. So, that's the other bounty. So not only will we play Formula 1 2018, all three of us, but I will get my ass handed to me for about 2 hours via Tom on Street Fighter 5. And chat is my shout out as well. So thank you very much.
There
you
you
guys
go.
got-
I was going to say chat too. So you beat me to that.
So I think that's it. Is that we all done?
I think that is it. I don't think we have anything else we need to do. Anything else we need to talk about? Anybody else? Anything else? Does anybody else need to say?
Nothing for myself.
Nice.
I think that is all for me as well.
Okay. Well, and then we gonna raid somebody. We gonna yeet. Yeah. Somebody says to play. Yes. Get everybody to donate for $3,000 to Extra Life, and I'll play Dark Souls 3. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like the Dark Souls games. I'm angry. They make me angry. They make me frustrated.
I'm happy to support and be a summon.
Oh, I'm gonna unoptimize build this. That's the other thing too, folks. I should quantify. I'm going in blind. I'm not reading any build guides. I'm not reading how to build a character. It's just gonna be just fucking go in and yeet it. So it's just gonna really be watch James get frustrated for 2 hours, which tends to be entertaining. But yeah. So let's find. Can we raid somebody? Is there somebody around to raid? T. Pollen's doing some dirt racing.
Is he still up?
Yeah. So is Cosmic Gamers. Any thoughts?
I mean, we haven't seen Tim in a while, have we?
T. Pollen 20 it is. That's where we're going. All right, everybody, we're raiding there. Until then, I've been James. He's been Will. That's also been The Coffee Night.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Get that rebrand going.
This has been the TGWPIS podcast. We'll see you all next time. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.